In this video, we're talking about another of Canva's AI Magic Studio tools, the Magic Grab tool. Now, why is this tool so great and why is it superior to the background remover tool? Well, I'm going to give you all of my advanced tips and tricks for using this tool in this video, and I think you're really going to fall in love with this Magic Grab tool inside of Canva. As a reminder, this video is part of a tutorial series on the latest AI tools in Canva. So if you want to check out some of those other videos and learn all about the different AI tools in Canva, just check the description below this video and you'll find links to all the different videos that are part of this series. As a second reminder, I do have a couple of free giveaways that are complements to this learning series. So I have my Canva AI tool guide, which is just a quick visual reference to really go over each tool, where to find it, how to use it, tips for using the tool. So just an easy reference you can have handy whenever you're working with these tools. And then a second free giveaway is my visual style guide, which is really going to help you start to learn the language you can use when prompting and creating AI images to really get a variety of great results. So it's going to give you over 100 keywords, descriptions to go along with those, and it's going to really help you start to build that sort of visual language and that library of terms you need to get great results. So I'm going to put a link in the first pinned comment below and also in the description below this video. Sign up for my email and you can get those free guides. In the last video, we talked about the background remover tool. In this video, we're going to be talking about another of the Magic Studio tools, the Magic Grab tool. And perhaps by the end of this video, you're going to see why I don't actually use the background remover tool that often, because I feel like the Magic Grab tool does everything the background remover tool does, only it leaves you with more flexibility. So let's take a look at some examples to see what I mean. So we worked on this photo in the last lesson. So what I'm going to do is just come in here again and click on this photo. And again, you find all these tools with a photo selected by following this edit link here. And then you're going to bring up all these menus here for editing an image, including these Magic Studio options. Now, one thing I didn't mention before about the background remover tool is if you just click back onto here, this link here, or this link in the menu here, you get back into the interface. If you did want to just reset everything, you could reset everything here. But remember, when we use this background remover tool to remove the subject from the background, it threw away the background and it didn't give us any options as to what it was going to select out and keep, right? It was all automated. We had no control. It did everything on its own, choosing what to keep and then choosing what to throw away. Okay, yes, we did have those restore and erase options giving us some control, but as mentioned before, those were kind of clunky, so not really the best option. So let's go ahead here and reset this tool. So I'm going to reset the background remover. And so if you ever need to reset a tool under the menu here, you have this reset and you can click confirm and it's going to bring the background back. Okay, so now this time, same photo, but instead of using the background remover, we're going to use this Magic Grab tool. So another one of the Magic Studio tools, and remember these are all pro tools, you can tell because of that crown icon. So you do need the pro account to make use of these tools. So how is the background remover tool different from this Magic Grab tool, and what are the advantages we can now get by using this Magic Grab tool? So let's go ahead and this time, instead of the background remover, we're going to choose this Magic Grab option. And when we do, we come into the Magic Grab interface. Now you may have seen part of the screen sort of flash blue. What it does now is it's using, again, that AI technology to sort of identify the subjects in the scene. And if we roll over the image now, we can see different parts of the image will turn blue as we roll over them. Now, remember with the background remover, it was just a one-click deal where it kept some of the things, it threw away everything else. This time we can actually come in here and select different subjects within the scene. So we can see the person herself, the woman herself gets highlighted. If I'm over the computer, that gets highlighted. I can select this plant just in front. And if I wanted to take total control, let's say up here, it's not sort of auto finding this background here, this sort of on the wall, this whiteboard. But if I went in here and use my brush, then I could come in here and I could brush and I could select just that whiteboard. So if I came in here around her hair like that and selected this whiteboard, I could go ahead and I could make that selection, and then I could go ahead and click grab, and it's going to attempt to grab just the part of the scene that I've selected. So let me go ahead and click grab, and we'll see what sort of result we get. And so when you use this tool, instead of throwing away the background, what it's going to attempt to do is it's going to use the AI technology to fill the background where you select an object with appropriate pixels that it thinks matches the scene. So it's going to select this whiteboard, but then it's going to attempt to fill in this wall where it's removing the whiteboard, because the whiteboard is going to get put up on its own layer, but it's still going to attempt to fill those pixels in. So now we can see that this whiteboard is selected, and behind it, what has it done? It's put another whiteboard, okay? So not necessarily the perfect result, but I was able to take this whiteboard out of the scene. So it is going to be hit or miss in terms of how it fills those pixels. Sometimes it's going to match the scene in the manner you want. Other times it's going to do something like this, where I really wanted it to put the wall here behind her instead of what we got. Now there's another tool which we'll talk about later where we can attempt to fix this as well. But for now, let me just hit Control Z and step out of it because I didn't particularly like that change. But let's come in here again. Do this background remover. Excuse me, I didn't want me to hit the background remover. Again, we're going to come in here. We're going to choose the edit menu. This time we're going to choose magic grab again. And again, this time let's go in and let's select this plan. So this time I'm just going to click on it. Again, you can use the brush tool or you can just click. I'm just clicking on this area here. And then once you click on something, you'll see it get selected as blue if it's something you can select, and then you can go ahead and click grab. So what I'm trying to do is take this plant here and remove this from the scene, and then we'll see how it fills the pixels behind this plant. So go ahead and click grab. You're going to see this progress bar as it works. It attempts to fill in those background pixels. It attempts to select what you sort of grabbed or what you clicked on, and it's going to try to put that up on its own layer. So it's going to take a little while, and now if I click on this, I can drag and move it around, and we can see in this instance, it's actually done a really good job filling in the pixels of the laptop behind this plant. So now if I like this plant, I could try to put it in the scene somewhere else. So I could put it over here, but of course I can see that it hasn't done a perfect job of getting all the pixels of the plant. So I might just get rid of it, but now I have a scene that doesn't have that distracting element in the front. Now I just have the computer, okay? So this is a different way you can use the magic grab tool. Now let me hit Control Z just to bring that plant back for a second, just so we can see under the position menu, when you use the magic grab tool, what's gonna happen is whatever you grab, it's gonna put up on its own layer, and you're gonna still have the layer behind it where it attempts to fill in the pixels with something new where your original subject was, okay? So this is how the magic grab tool works, but suddenly this gives us a lot more flexibility than we had with that background remover tool. Because remember, the background remover just threw away the background layer. Now suddenly it's keeping the background layer. It's attempting to fill in the pixels where that subject is that we select and we grab, and then it's putting our subject itself on a different layer. So this really does give us a lot more flexibility and a lot more options for making use of this tool. Let's take a look at some of those now just by running through a few examples. Let's return and look at this photo, for example. Now you remember the background remover, when we use the background remover, it just gets rid of everything in the background. But what if we wanted to take her and move her to the other side of the image? Maybe we want space on the right side of this image for copy. Well, that's not something that would be possible with the background remover, but now suddenly with the magic grab tool, we do have more possibilities. So again, select the subject, come in here and click edit. I'll use the magic grab tool. It's going to find her as the subject, so I can just click on her, click grab. Give it a second to work. It's going to go ahead and find her, move her up onto her own layer, and then attempt to fill the background layer with appropriate pixels. Now this is where the tool is hit or miss. If you have a complicated background, just like the background remover wasn't great at that, filling that in with new content isn't going to be a perfect match if it's super complicated. So you just have to experiment around and see the types of images where it can do a good job, and you'll get a feel for when it's going to maybe be something you can use and do a reasonable job. So let's see with this image here. If I move her now, yes, it's done a pretty good job in the background. You cannot really tell that this is not the original image here. These are pixels that have been filled in. So that's smart technology doing a really good job. And of course, now if I wanted to come in and add some text on the right side of my image, now I have space for that. So the magic grab just is a great tool when you just want to reposition your subject in the scene, in the frame, maybe in an instance where you want to be able to add copy. So this is one use of the magic grab tool where it does a good job. Now let's take a look at another example. Let's imagine I wanted to take this woman here and place her in a new scene. So I'll hit Control C to copy her here. Now I could have removed her with the background remover tool to get started, or I could have grabbed her with the magic grab tool, an instance where the starting point could have been either tool. But now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to paste her in this image here, Control V. Now, right now, if I look at this and I look at my layers here within here, I have the background layer of leaves behind her, and then I just have her sitting on top. Let me switch those layers just for a second. So now we have the leaves on top. What if I really want to add some depth here and have these leaves almost act as a frame and have her behind some of the leaves, but not behind the entire background. So I want to sort of place her in the scene, make her feel like she's part of the scene, give the scene some depth. This is an example where, again, we could use that magic grab tool. The background remover is not something that would work. But so what I'm going to do is come in here and I'm going to choose this edit menu again. And I'll come in here and I'll choose magic grab. And when I do, you see it highlights some of the leaves here. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom out just a little bit so we can see a little bit better. Now we can see some of these elements turn blue, other ones did not. So I'm going to go ahead and start by just clicking this leaf here and clicking this leaf here. And I could choose to do this one at a time, or whatever I want to be on the same layer I want to grab together. So let's say I'm okay with these two leaves being on the same layer. I can click on one and then click on the other one, and now they're both selected. I can go ahead and click grab, and so I'm going to put those up on another layer. Now, I can continue though. I can use this magic grab tool multiple times. So I'm going to start by grabbing these two leaves. Now we can see that they are on their own layer, but let me come back again and make sure I selected the original photo here below. I'm going to run magic grab again. So again, under the edit menu, and then again, I'm going to choose magic grab for a second time. And this time I'm going to come in and I'm going to select something different. So I'm going to come in now and again, zoom out a little bit. Now, if I look at this here, it's selected everything, but not necessarily the stem of these leaves. So what you can come in here and do is brush even farther. So I can zoom in if I need to be a little bit more precise. I can lower down the size of my brush. Now, I can select this here. I can select this stem here. Maybe I want this stem here. Something to keep in mind as you use this brush tool within the magic grab tool. It's not selecting and copying the exact area that you're selecting. So in other words, I've gone beyond the edge of this stem here. What it's doing though is it's taking that edge and it's looking within that edge for an area of sharp contrast. So where we have the contrast between this stem and the area beyond the stem, it's probably going to cut out just the stem itself. So you are selecting just beyond your subject, and if there's contrast within between the subject you're selecting and the rest of the scene, then it's going to be able to recognize that, and it's going to do a smart AI version of the grab. So it's not just selecting the area that you paint. So I'm going to go ahead and hit grab, and in doing so, I'm attempting to move sort of these bottom layers, just the stems and the leaves, up onto another layer. So again, we'll give it a second to work. And now this is the second time we're going to run this tool, but I'm going to go ahead and run this tool a third time to grab this and a fourth time to grab this. So we'll go ahead and watch how this works. So now we have this on its own layer, and we see how with the stem here, it grabbed just the stem. If we look at how these overlap now, and I zoom in here, it grabbed the stem of this leaf, but not the area beyond, even though I had selected a little bit beyond that stem. So this is just an example where now that AI technology is working for us in those areas where we have contrast. So again, these leaves up here, because there is a lot of contrast between these leaves and the out of focus area of the background, I can again come in here. I'll make sure I'm on this layer again. And if I move that to the top just so we can see, I've gotten rid of those leaves. I've gotten rid of the leaves that were floating here. So it's also done a good job of filling in the background since there's not a ton of detail. So anytime you have a background that's sort of not a lot of sharp details like this, it's usually going to do a pretty good job using AI technology to fill in that background. So now I'm going to select this portion and then this portion. So let me go ahead and run magic grab yet again. So again, edit menu, magic grab. Again, choose a brush size that's sort of appropriate, but there is some forgiveness here. So I'm going to make this pretty big. And even though I'm going beyond these leaves, because there's this area of contrast between the leaves and the background itself, it's going to do a good job of selecting just the leaves and then leaving out some of that background area, even though I've selected beyond the leaves themselves. So I'll go ahead and do that. I'll run grab again, and I'm going to speed this up, and you can watch me select this area as well. And I'm going to put all of these leaf elements on their own layers, just because that's going to give me more flexibility in the final composition I can create. So again, one more time on this, I'll go ahead and grab these layers up here, edit, magic grab, one more time. This time I'm going to select these leaves in the upper left. And so again, it's going to auto find most of it here. So if I want, I can also just click on it, and then I can come in with my brush tool, just get a couple of the areas that it's missing here. So just to be sure I get everything, I'm going to come in here one more time, go ahead and click grab. And again, it's going to use that AI technology and attempt to put these leaves up on their own layer, and again, fill in those background pixels with appropriate pixels that match the scene. Okay, so if I come under my position menu now to see all the different layers we have, I'll move this back to the background. I'll move the woman forward here, and see now we have these leaves on their own layer. We have these leaves up here on their own layer. We have these leaves on their own layer. These leaves on their own layer. And of course, we've placed our woman here into the scene. And now we can put her in front of this background layer, but still behind some of the foreground leaves. So this is just going to give us a lot more flexibility in terms of the composition we can create. So maybe I'll move those leaves here, and then maybe I'll actually come up here and make a couple duplicates. Now I'm making these duplicates just by doing Alt and then dragging out a copy. So let me hit Control Z, get these leaves here, spin some of these so they're oriented differently. And then I'm gonna just make sure I grab those leaves here that I just made copies of here. Let's group those together. So let's group these here. Some of these I'm gonna push behind her. So let me take these and drop them down behind her. Now since they're farther in the background, let's make them a little bit more out of focus, slightly transparent, just so they look like maybe they're in the background here. So different ways to just come in here and add some depth to your scene. And of course, I could also come in here, I could do something like duplicating this background. So let me just come on this background, duplicate. Now I have another version of this background. Let's place it over top of my subject, position it. And all I'm doing now is using this to bring a little color on top of my subject here. So now I can take the transparency and just bring a little bit of that color that's in the scene onto my main subject here, just to make her sort of fit a little bit better with the scene. So all these different tricks and compositing things we can do. And of course I could also come in here, let's say I don't actually like those leaves here. I could take this version here. I could copy these. I could flip these here. So now with these selected, let me just flip and put, whoops, hitting the wrong button. Let's come up here, flip these horizontally, put those up in that corner. And so then I could control click to have both of these. Let me group these. Let me go ahead and drag out a copy. Let me rotate these like that, just so we're getting more of this symmetrical frame that we're going to drop in front there. So again, just giving you an idea of how you now have all of these creative possibilities because of this magic grab tool. You can really do way more with this magic grab tool than you can do with the background remover tool, including just doing the simple thing of removing a subject from the background. So a lot of times I will just use this magic grab tool. Now, let me show you one more example to show you how you can take this magic grab tool and push it probably even beyond uses that the creators intended to do some pretty cool things. So let's imagine that we have this photograph here with the hands, and then we have another photograph here with the earth. And imagine we wanted to place the earth into the hands. Well, it wouldn't look right if it was completely behind the hands, and obviously it doesn't look right completely in front of the hands. Really, if this was sitting within the hands, it would maybe be behind the thumbs, but in front of the other fingers. Now, this is something we can actually do if we're creative in the way we use the magic grab tool. So let me just show you. I'm going to click on the subject of the hands here. Again, I'll come into the edit menu, and again, I will choose magic grab. Now this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my brush tool here, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to very carefully brush over the edge of the thumb, making sure I go just beyond where we have that contrast between the thumb and the background. And then I'll maybe do something like that and bring it up here over the top. Again, making sure I go just beyond sort of that area of contrast, but I just want this thumb, and then maybe I want the bottom thumb too. So again, just going around the edge of the thumb, just beyond the edge of the thumb, out to maybe right there, come down like this. And so what I'm doing with this is I'm attempting to move just the thumbs themselves onto a new layer and leave the rest of the hands on a layer below. So I'm gonna go ahead and do something like that. Click grab. Now when you're asking it something like this, it's a little bit more complicated. It may take a little bit more time. And again, what matters is that you do have that edge contrast. So if these thumbs were just soft focused and blurred in with the background, it's not gonna really work. But since they have enough contrast between the thumbs themselves and the background and the rest of the hands, I should be able to put them up on another layer. Now, it's gonna attempt to fill the pixels behind where I where I cut the thumbs out, it's going to do a terrible job, but that's not going to matter because we're going to keep the thumbs right on top. So we're not going to see the fill pixels in this instance. We're just using it as a trick so we can put these up onto different layers. So if I move this now, we can see that yes, these thumbs are on their own layer. Now it didn't do a perfect job here, so maybe I should try to do this thumb again or do this thumb separate. So I did pause the video and run it again. So now I did each thumb separately and it did a better job. And again, terrible job behind there. What actually did a decent job filling it if you had a person, you know, with only 4 fingers. But in terms of the pixels behind, we're not concerned about that at all. We just wanted these thumbs up on their own layer, because now what we can do is we can take this and we'll notice that this is in front of the hands here, but behind the thumbs. So now if we take this and slide it in, we can start to make it look like this person is holding the earth here. And so suddenly we have a much more realistic result and something we couldn't do without using this magic grab tool. Now we could also do something else. So let's take this top thumb here. I could even do something like duplicating this layer, and then maybe I could come in here with that duplicated. And what I'm going to do is come under the edit menu. I'll go to the duotone effect, and we're just going to make this so it's basically black like that. And then we'll come back here and we'll take the blur tool, and again, come on this blur tool, we'll bring up the intensity, just turning this into sort of a drop shadow. And then we'll take that layer here. If we come under the position menu, we'll make sure it's behind our thumb here. And then suddenly we're going to use this to be sort of a shadow layer, so it looks more like our thumb is leaving shadow on the globe. Now there's extra stuff here which I don't need, so then I could come in here real quick, and we're going to talk about this tool more in a minute, but I'll just come in here under the magic eraser tool, and in this case I'm just using it as an actual eraser. So I'm going to do something like this because I'm not going to need all of that shadow. Go ahead and click erase, just give it a second to do that. And since this has mostly transparent pixels on this layer, now when I use the magic eraser, it actually should replace those pixels with just transparent pixels. And that's something we'll talk about more when we talk about this magic eraser. But now if I go back, now suddenly I just have this little bit of a drop shadow, which of course I can position around. But now suddenly we'll see the way that makes this effect even more realistic just by putting a little drop shadow there where there would be a drop shadow as the thumb is over top of the globe. Okay, so again, taking this magic grab tool, understanding how it works, thinking creatively, now suddenly we can accomplish way more than we can do just alone with that background remover tool. So this magic grab tool is very helpful. Make sure you take advantage of it. Now, the one closing point I'll make is if you're someone that uses Photoshop or a program like that, you know, with masking in Photoshop, that is still a better program with better options for this sort of masking and compositing than you get with the magic grab tool. The magic grab tool lets you stretch what Canva can do, but I don't want you to become someone that says Canva can do anything Photoshop can do, because that's still not the case. Photoshop is still a better choice for advanced photo edits like this, but for simpler projects like this, you can now stretch it and do more things than you could do with just the background remover alone. So take advantage of this tool, push it as much as you want, but as you start to really get into complicated things, just be aware there still are other tools out there you may want to look into. All right, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video where we're going to talk about this magic eraser option.